Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. You guys, we are diving head on straight into this video. This is titled Let Me Just Stop You. Ooh. Dana presses Lara Trump on Donald Trump's false claims about Helen. And this isn't CNN.
You were there last night, and I'm sure that it was not easy, that it was emotional for you and your family. But as I mentioned, a lot has changed politically since that happened three
Okay.
months ago. Can you give me a sense of the state of things on the ground in Pennsylvania where you just were?
Yeah, well, let me just briefly say, Dana, that it really was a beautiful moment yesterday in Butler. And I think it was really important in terms of healing for this country. I don't think any of us will forget, whether you love Donald Trump or not, where you were when
Mm-hmm.
you found out what had happened to him on July 13th. And that's a traumatic thing to happen to a country. And I can tell you, when we got off the plane yesterday, I was a little bit emotional. And I got to sit right next to Helen Comparator, Corey Comparator's widow, and his two daughters. And it was a really beautiful tribute. And I think it was important for Donald Trump to go back and create new memories for the people of Butler, Pennsylvania. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you saw yesterday. But listen, you're right. The polling would indicate that things are neck and neck. I can tell you there were over 100,000 people at that rally there last night. I have never seen a crowd like that. You couldn't even see standing on the stage how far back the
Mm-hmm.
audience went. And I think that shows you that there is continued enthusiasm and growing enthusiasm for Donald Trump. And I think as every day goes by, we are 30 days away from this election. People are really
Mm-hmm.
considering what kind of America they want to live in. Do you want to get back to a time where you have great economic policies, where you have more money in your pocket, a secure southern border, and peace agreements instead of wars breaking out around the world? They remember, I think, Dana, who brought them that. It was Donald J. Trump. And that's why I believe on November 5th, he's going to be victorious in this race.
Laura, I want to
Mm-hmm.
ask you about something that the former president said last night on that stage, specifically about Hurricane Helene in your home state of North Carolina. He said that FEMA is only offering $750 to Americans who have had their homes destroyed. That's not true. He's also echoing conspiracy theorists online who falsely claim that the administration is redirecting disaster money for undocumented immigrants. That's also not true. Why is he spreading misinformation in a crisis like that? And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians and how and whether they could actually get help?
I'm incredibly concerned in North Carolina. I hear every day from people on the ground there, and they are desperate for help. It is a dire situation there. I actually think we don't even know the extent yet of truly how bad it is there. And look, Kamala Harris did come out and say it's $750 per family right now. The idea that we've spent $650 million in fiscal year 24 on the migrant crisis that Kamala Harris was responsible for stopping, and by all accounts, she created by having an open door policy at our southern border,
But
is
Laura, let
infuriating
me just
the
stop you right
citizens
there.
of this
Let me
country.
just stop you right there because I just want to not let this get out there. You are right that FEMA is giving $750, but that is a first step. It's for immediate needs. It's called the
Well, Alejandro Mayorkas came out,
serious needs
Dana, and
assistance.
said that they are out of money in terms of
What
their hurricane relief. We have another hurricane heading towards Florida right
what
now.
they have
Why
said
is
is
Mm-hmm.
this
that there
government
is
inept
money.
right now? Why don't they have anything in order? Why is it that right now
Well,
the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens? People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the
but
mountains
that
and help people.
it is
Where
bad.
is our federal government?
It,
Why
it,
are they out of
it
money?
is, it is bad there. But my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants, to, you say,
Here's
undocumented
what I will
migrants,
say.
which FEMA
You
says
have,
flatly
you
is
have,
not true. And if people are not getting correct information, then they can't go for assistance as they have been asked for. I just want to
but
quickly
Dana,
play what Senator
no,
Tom
let me
Tillis.
just say for 1 second.
Go ahead.
You have migrants being housed in luxury hotels in New York City. We have paid so much money from our tax dollars into the crisis that didn't need to happen. We could redirect money to help people immediately on the ground in North
But
Carolina
Lara,
or
they're
in
saying
Florida,
that they
where we're
have,
probably going to have a
but that's a
situation
separate,
coming up in the
that's a
next
separate,
several days.
that's a separate tranche of
No one
money.
is
That's a separate tranche of
okay.
money. I want you to
If
listen
anyone
to, I
believes
want
that
you
this
to,
migrant
I
crisis
want you
hasn't
to
been a
listen to
disaster
what,
for every American, it is a big problem,
but
and
that
you're
has
seeing the
nothing
results
to
of it
do
right
with, that has nothing to do with the people in your home state right now. I want you to listen to what the Republican senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, said about the rescue and recovery efforts.
I'm actually impressed with how much attention was paid to a region that wasn't likely to have experienced the impact that they did. For anybody who thinks that any level of government, anybody here, could have been prepared precisely for what we're dealing with here, clearly are clueless. But right now, I'm out here to say that we're doing a good job.
So he and others are saying, please, to the former president and to others, stop spreading misinformation because it's hurting people in North Carolina.
I'm so glad to hear that he feels that way, but it's coming directly from people there. You can go online and you can look at videos of people recording themselves and posting online saying, "We need help. No one has come here. We have nothing." And no one has even addressed the situation in my neighborhood or my area. So I'm glad to hear that he feels very good about that. And I honestly, I hope that we hear more of that. I want them to recover there as soon as possible. And it's tragic, the loss of life that we've already seen. I think that number sadly is going to continue to go higher, and it's a tragedy all around.
I want to turn to something that we learned this week about from prosecutors on Donald Trump's role in trying to overturn the election results in 2020. When Mike Pence's life was in jeopardy, an aide told prosecutors that Trump said, quote, "So what?" Do you think that's an appropriate response to the notion that his vice president's life appeared to be in danger?
Well, I think that this is a ridiculous ploy, of course, in 30 days to an election to try and dissuade people from voting for Donald Trump. You know, the January 6th situation has been amplified to a level that I don't think is almost believable to so many people right now when they're struggling to put food on the table for their families, when they're struggling to fill up their gas tanks, when you have dog and cat euthanization rates at an all-time high right now, because people are going to have to turn over their animals because they can't afford to have a family pet right now. When you have wars breaking out around the world, this is not the top concern for the people of this country. And the fact that this is coming to the forefront just speaks volumes about the fact that the Democrats probably don't feel good about their candidate of Kamala Harris. This is not the main concern of the American people. They want their affordable life back. They want jobs back. They want their country back, and they want their safety and security back. And they know who brought it to them. It's Donald J. Trump.
Let me talk about where we are right now, because we are 30 days away from an election. So let's look ahead to how Donald Trump will respond to the results of this election. Polls, of course, show that it is very, very close. It could go either way. Is there any circumstance in which Donald Trump would accept a defeat and concede?
Well, of course, if he feels that this is a free, fair, and transparent election, which, by the way, is my number one goal at the RNC. You mentioned at the top, I am the co-chair of the Republican National Committee, and our number one charge has been trying to make sure that we restore faith in our electoral process. There were a lot of people after 2020 all across this country who felt like maybe they couldn't trust that system. We want to restore the faith in that because it is really foundational, Dana, to who we are as a country, as American citizens. Every vote matters and every vote counts. And we have extended this offer to our friends across the aisle at the DNC. Please, at the DNC, please come join us in this pursuit of election integrity. And so we want every person to feel when they go vote in America, whether they're voting Republican, Democrat, or third-party candidate, their vote matters and their vote counts. And assuming everything is free, fair, and transparent, absolutely. If Donald Trump loses this election, he has said himself he will be happy to accept those results.
Part of the reason why people are so unsure about what happened in 2020 is because Donald Trump claimed that it wasn't a free and fair election. And there is no evidence to prove that. There were, 60 lawsuits where lawyers like the ones that you're hiring went through the process, which he had every right to do. And there was no evidence of widespread fraud. His Attorney General, Bill Barr, said that again. So it sounds like you're setting up the same question of free and fair when that is what we saw. So again, do you see a scenario where he will take a different approach this election year?
Well, we are setting things up differently from the RNC standpoint. And we, instead of having to respond days, weeks, or months later to any issue that we might have, are going to have people in the room every time a vote is cast and counted so that we can ensure if there is any question about anything, we're addressing it right then
There
in that
and
moment. We're
there.
not waiting later. Those lawsuits you referenced, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, the vast majority of them were not dismissed based on merit. They were dismissed on clerical errors. And if you go back and look at that election, let's just be honest, everybody watching this understands that was a very different, very unique election. Laws were changed state by state illegally. It's the state legislature that decides the voting laws in each state. That didn't happen, and it was because of COVID-19. You had poll watchers who had to stand across a room and couldn't even see anything going on. You had massive information coming out that people just said, I don't understand what's going on here, and we never got answers to that. We're trying to rectify that right now. And we are hoping that 2024 is the year and going forward that people trust our electoral process once again. Again, it is our number one focus.
I want to say that there were more than 60 cases. They weren't clerical issues. And the thing that people need to understand is that if there was widespread fraud, as the former president still claims, he would have had to give evidence. And no judge saw evidence. His own attorney general didn't see evidence of that fraud.
Every single time I watch an interview, Dana bashes, the interviewer. I just know. I just know that we are getting a Democratic Party, spokesperson just right off the bat. I know. She doesn't even try to hide it no more, right? So it's just that. You guys, I said this in my last video. Has the countdown begin? It should, because a lot is happening. We are so close now to the finish line. And I tell people, it's one thing to show your support, it's another thing to go out there and vote. To vote. Because the moment you vote, that changes a whole lot of things. It's in your hands. You have the power to do that. So you vote. Because best believe everyone is looking at this result. Everyone is involved. Everyone wants to say. And the funny thing is, you guys remember years ago when um when Donald Trump lost, that election, everyone and their mother was saying, oh, he was going to bring about the Third World War, this and that. They had a whole lot to say about Trump, and forgetting that during his past 4 years, did any new wars happen? Did any war happen? It didn't. It was one of the most peaceful 4 years. So this is not the time to be swayed by the media. This is the time to know whose policies resonate well with you and who you are voting for. You're not thinking of today or tomorrow or next. You're thinking of 2 years to come, 3 years to come. Is this how you want the situation of things to be? That's a whole question that everyone needs to answer. If you're here watching this video, I have a question for you. Who has your vote come November 5th? Who has your vote? Who are you voting for? And if you can, tell us why in the comment section. Let us know. You might be helping someone there who is still sitting on the fence, not knowing who they want to vote for. Whosoever you support, tell us in the comment section and tell us why. Because we don't want people who don't know. We don't want people who just said, oh, my friend is voting this, I want to vote. We want people who know exactly why they are voting, who they are voting, and what for. They both have their records, and their records should speak for itself. Trump past president, Kamala present vice president. So people have records. Let it do the work. Let it do the. I mean, I just remember that thing Vance usually say. You know, every single time we hear, someone from the Republican Party speak, you hear substance, you hear policies, you hear. I mean, you're not having a blind, empty debate. You're not having back and forth. Like substance are being placed. Like this is it. This is it. This is it. And we get that a lot. You guys, this is very, very serious. This is not a time to sit and say, oh, it doesn't concern you. I feel like it concerns everyone now. So let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. And I would see you right there because the video starts from there. Do have a great day.